All right, man. We're hitting on Facebook Live after this. Listen to a little bit of music in the background till we get fire.
I got nothing to lose. I got to live for two. Me and you, girl. No time, all night, girl. So baby, I love you.
Let's go and share the link. I promise you tonight. Tonight's gonna be a good one. I kid you not. There's no lie in all of this. Tonight, probably us out we're gonna be doing something crazy good. Not compare this to Legend Liberia. I'll tell you that. I kid you not. I kid you not. I'm telling you, tonight we're bringing it on. Well, you ain't seen analysis like this before, man. I'm telling you, we're gonna do justice to this thing. I kid you not.
So I guess it's my sister, my body, my body, guess not deeply, put you to see the game. Guess who, my guys, in the energy high, the crowd, the side, maybe my trip not you is a key, you know what I mean? I don't know, I got four, I saw four, and I wouldn't go four. I see you, I too bad, I'm real confident. See it? Yeah, spinning the rubber to the sound. Let's speak out of sauce. So I guess it's like my sister, my body, my body. Guess not deeply, put you to see the game. Guess who, my guys, in the energy high, the crowd, the side, maybe my crib like who is a key, you know what I mean?
All right, my people, I said thank you for joining us tonight.
I see you, I too bad. I'm real confident, I will ride. See the way I find like this, my girl want me to learn the time like this. My blade fire like this, when I put 16 on my blade like this. So like, who gon' curse, who gon' bless, who got mine, who thinks he has air. You know better, but do better, don't play with it, but do better. I read the new lead up, the chance, lead up, the constant up.
Now we're making it happen, we're doing it with the scholarship. I think this is by far the best work that you've seen, that you will see when it comes to breaking down the numbers. But you know, a lot of times people just go ahead and talk about it. You're gonna hear it tonight. Probably talking. All right, you got the music, Emery? All right, Let's go ahead and share the link, my people.
I will celebrate to every family. Every day is holiday. I will celebrate to every family. And now when nobody touches, say the better to me. No need to happen nobody. I open with me so you cannot bring me down. Me and I bring you down. This year I'm a little shout. In the jungle, you give a ground. You're just a shout. I just a party. Don't make this look good. I won't take your mama happy. I just a shout. I just a party. Don't make this look good. I won't take your mama happy.
Let's go ahead and share the link, and then we kick off. Make it happen. Ladies and gentlemen, we want to say thank you for joining us tonight. And let me tell you something, we have been working on the back end, and we figured that since it's the kickoff to campaign, it is now time for us to be aggressive, right? And so while you're on this show, I actually want you to share the link. Share the link, share the link. And we'll go ahead and pause the music a little bit now. And let's go ahead and go to the intros here. And then the next thing you know, we're going to get in the thick of things here real quick. So I'll bring the
ANC, somebody do ANC, comments, somebody do comments, ANC, somebody do ANC, comments, somebody do comments. Mr. Sweet. Fellow partisan, now you won't pick you. HR my constants. ANC, somebody do ANC, comments, somebody do comments, ANC, somebody do ANC, comments, somebody do comments.
Listen, tonight we're bringing the heat. Let me tell you, first and foremost, I want to welcome all of you to this lit night session of Unapologetic. Is lit tonight because we want the people in Liberia to get a feel of what we're doing. So sometimes, don't get it twisted. We'll get on about 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, because we know that the people in Liberia will probably just be waking up and be able to tune in as well. Eventually, we're working on something to have this relayed on radio station, either on Truth FM. That deal is actually in the work. Tonight, this is the kickoff of campaign. Yesterday, Saturday in Liberia. Today, in the United States on the East Coast, we kick off campaign, right? And so in the spirit of the campaign kickoff and looking at the next 66 plus days, all of the things that we have to do tonight, we thought it wise to be able to bring something to you all that would be a little different. So, Yuri said, yes, what we're going to do. First and foremost, Emery, how are you, man? What are you doing? How you doing?
I'm pretty good. I'm, putting on my analytical mindset to be able to go through this for us to, have a home run with the campaign.
Absolutely. That's what we're doing. Home run analytical mindset, trying to make sure that we are putting things. So right now we're streaming from multiple pages. I have my main page. We have an apologetic, page there. And then we have the YouTube channel as well that we're streaming from. As you come across this video, please help us. Please, CPP support us. Share this. Bring people on. Put in all the chat rooms because this is quality work. What we're about to do tonight, no amount of money can pay us for us. This is putting some of you to ease. Some of you, a lot of times I've run across people who've asked me a question, dude, what does our chances look like? What do you think is going to happen in this election? Tonight, we're here to have that conversation. We're going to break it down. We're looking at spending about 2 hours tonight talking about this. That's why Emmerich is here tonight. That's why Emmerich is here tonight. That's why I'm here tonight. We're going to have a conversation. So just from the little chat description, Liberia Decides, yes, we're moving into October 10th. We started campaign today. Fixer 1 and Fixer 2, Path to Victory, crunching the numbers. And tonight we're going to kick this off. Emmerich's already introduced himself. Let's go. So Emmerich, give the people an idea quickly about what we're discussing before we go into our main topic.
First of all, we have to look at the demographic in Nimba. Nimba is an area where a lot of people think that the voting population is their way, but a lot of sticky issues when it comes to Nimba. And I live in Nimba. My mom is from Nimba. I know Nimba. I know the people. And I think I with the analysis we have right now, we can be able to project in Nimba and see who's going to come victorious in that area. But, people think that because they've been in politics for 40, 50 years, so it's automatic. But times have changed. Things have changed. A lot of different moving parts and so had happened. So you can't have a foolproof to say you own Nima or you own Lofa, you own those different places, Bon County, Mongibi, and so we're going to start off with Nima. I had to do a regression analysis of Nima. People don't know. I'm very, very, I'm a nerd when it comes to, education. I like factual data. I like to deal with numbers. When it comes to the numbers in Nima and other places, I did what we call a regression analysis on Nima to show the relationship between the different variables in Nima. And we have come up with our conclusion based on what happened in 2017. And we'll see another thing, that the trend that's been happening over the period of time. So we're going to make an analysis in Nima and other places, big areas, Lofa, Mount Gibby, Bon County, Bassa, the Bassa Belt, and so that's what we want tonight.
Thank you. And what you're looking at on the screen tonight is a live look-in off the little map. Nimba County, live look-in Liberia. We're going to use technology, Google Earth, to be able to zoom through and bring some kind of visual for you to understand as we go back and forth. So as you see in the back end, we're looking at Nimba County. We'll get into different aspects of this, but I just wanted you guys to get an idea of what we're doing. Look, it is campaign time. You understand me? It is campaign time. We're not playing. We're not joking. We're trying to make sure that the people of Liberia understand that this is about changing hearts and minds and ensuring that the Liberian people get the type of leadership that they deserve as well. So as we move through the satellite here to get our different points, different coordinates, different locations. Let me go ahead and actually get the ball rolling here quickly. So let me pull this up here real quick, and we will get back here. Perfect. Okay, so Nima County. When we talk about the numbers, when we talk about elections in Liberia, when we talk about the strategic points, when some of you are asking, look, what is Cummings' path to victory? What does it look like in Liberia? What does it take for people to be able, to understand, what is it that's needed for, different political parties to win an election in Liberia? So we're gonna attempt to, give you some clarity on that particular issue. In addition tonight, we will begin by safely making, you understand me, some level of projection in terms of what we think could possibly happen in Nimba County. And as we move forward, we will be able to actually look at some other places across the country in terms of the race and bring some level of clarity to what you should be looking for and why we think certain political parties, including Fixer 1 or 2, and why they're going to be, that's going to be an area of strength. So the kickoff here, let me give you a quick summary and then we'll jump into the takeoff things here. As it stands right now, let me stop sharing this and take you to the NEP website, so we can be able to NEC Liberia, so we can be able to see exactly what's unfolding when it comes to the National Election Commission. So for the National Election Commission, they're saying we have 46 political parties. You have 2.4 million registered voters. You have 2,080 voting precincts and 5,890 polling places in Liberia as well. This is a live feed from the NEC website. As you can see, they have about 65 days to the general election in Liberia, and NEC is telling you this is exactly what you need to know in terms of the amount of political parties that are actually registered in Liberia. Switching back to our map feature here, so that way all of us can have the kind of clarity that we need as well. Emerick, just let's go quickly to the National Election Commissions and their summary of the kind of political parties that we have in Liberia. What do you make of that?
Yeah, people have to understand that Nema County, before the Civil War, Nema County was always one. They spoke in one voice, one accord. If you look at the likes of Rees Dolo, DK Wonselia, Jackson Dole, Thomas Kwankwa, they all came from different areas, but they spoke in one voice when the county was united. They stood together. It's no more. It's different right now. The likes of Prince Johnson, after the Civil War, 1989, we see a high level of divisiveness. That's the reason why someone like, or people like the Gonglos, because if you look at the population in Nimba, the Gio tribe, they dominate the Mano tribe when it comes to numbers. And we have to be clear about it. Because of that, I don't think the Mano tribe had a fair share of equality when it comes to governance in the county. When you look at the elections and go back, Ida Gonglo had always fallen short of winning because of Prince Johnson's his predominance in the Gil Belt. The Mano tribe had always fallen short to win the senatorial position since Prince Johnson divided the county, in essence, to benefit him. So, looking at what we're looking at, what's happening right now, we see that CDC trying to be smart because Prince Johnson had always said himself in a way that he redeemed Nima. He is the only person who was able to protect Nima, but that's not a true statement. When you look at someone like Roland Duo, because I've been around for so long in that area, I understand the politics in that area. Roland Duo did not leave and go to Nigeria. Roland Duo stayed with Nimba for ever so long up to this day. So when you see CDC using Roland Duo against Prince Johnson, and then the likes of Garrison Yelu and other prominent people from the Gil Belt, because the problem Prince Johnson has, he's always had dominance in the Gil Belt. But then you see prominent sons of Nimba from the Gil Belt supporting CDC. Prince Johnson has to be smart enough to know that he can fall short of winning this this senatorial position. It's very, very clear. He doesn't know what at stake. And then when you look at our elections, right? Money, resources, also important. I don't care how popular you are. If you don't have the resources to be able to boost you, to be able to promote you, push you to the finish line, you're not going to win over there. So looking at it, he always calls himself Godfather. A Godfather would not have run away to Nigeria and left the county vulnerable. The county was vulnerable when the likes of someone like Roland Duo stood with the county for so long. So you see the reason why CDC tapping into Roland Duo to run against Prince Johnson is simple. Because the thing Roland Duo, he has some clout to be able to contest for the senatorial position. And don't overlook that. Their game plan, what's happening, they have taken a lot of the boys from the Gil Belt to support Roland Duo to take away from Prince Johnson. If Prince Johnson is not smart, he's going to lose the election. So that's my take.
That's a great point, Emmerich. And just digging a little further into this whole numbers thing when it comes to Nimba County. I'm gonna go ahead and pull up that regression analysis, and then we'll talk through that. If I just go ahead and say what you're looking on the screen here is a live looking at the Mesurado River, the Gilbert Tucker Bridge. In the back, we're trying to do something different on Google Earth to be allow us to access coordinates and that kind of stuff to make sure we're bringing live visuals of these conversation, and it's showing you specific based upon interactive mappings about what specific points we're speaking of and that have you. So I'm going to go ahead and stop the share on this, and let me see if I can do something different with my entire screen here, and that is screen one. And oops, this is last shown here. I'll go ahead and stop from screen one and just do it here. But pretty much, Emmerich hit a brilliant point. I will just go back to the Google Earth screen since I can put it. I'm not sure if Emmerich's got his file. But Emmerich, when we pull up the Excel documents and we look at a brilliant regression analysis that was actually done here, and you did a regression statistics. Some of the factors in terms of the variable that you use here, you talk about the tribal demographic line, right? Your observation in terms of the predicted GEOs, and you talk about the minor politics, something that is very crucial when it comes to NIMBA. Before you go into an explanation of that and how it factors in per the race for NIMBA County in the 2023 election, we have Tawan Gonglo. We have, in addition, we have the ticket from the Unity Party in that race, the Prince Johnson side. But what's very key about that is that, let's talk about, Tawan Gonglo. And let's talk about Edith Gonglo, his sister. She actually has performed, pretty strong in Nimba County. And in addition, Garrison Yelu, he's one of the more formidable faces in Nimba politics as well. Actually, one of the people who have the numbers in Nimba County. Garrison is actually with the CDC along with a couple of structures from the NDR. What do you make based upon the regression analysis of those factors and looking at the numbers? What do you predict in terms of the race in Nimba County, and why the Unity Party and other political parties need to be cautious of that aspect?
Yeah, dude. You see, one thing I believe in statistical analysis. That's my strength. That's my area. I've done this for years. Worked in DC as a consultant. I don't talk much about these things. When you know what you're being paid for, and you do what you need to do, you need to be talking around. But I did for the numbers from 2017 and looked at what happened in 2017 when Prince Johnson was presidential. He was the presidential candidate at the time. This is a whole different ball game right now. If you look at Garrison Yellow, for instance, even though he did not have money, right? The people in Nimba, they are loyal to a certain group of people, and their loyalty going to stick with them. When Prince Johnson ran against Garrison Yellow and so even Edith Gonglo, like I always say, if I were an advisor to Edith Gonglo, I would have, when she was superintendent in Nimba, to make inroads in the Guild Belt. That was a failure on her. So Edith Gonglo she had always fallen short because she did not make inroads in the Guild Belt. But looking at the race right now, Prince Johnson someone who's won because he's done a lot of investments in the Mano Belt too, in Ganta. If you look at the areas where you have economic activities, most of those areas are in the Mano Belt. So Prince Johnson, being smart enough, he took most of his activities, because in the Guild Belt, you don't have a lot of activities in the Guild Belt when it comes to economic development and growth. And so Prince Johnson, to be able to attract people from the Mano Belt and the Guild Belt, he moved over to the Mano Belt, and he was able to to infiltrate by having a lot of his economic created economic activities in those areas. But then the point there, if you look at him against Roland Doe and other people in the race, these are guys that have been around for so long too, that have done almost the same thing or even more than what Prince Johnson done, because they've been around for 40, 15 straight years that Prince Johnson was away in Nigeria. So Prince Johnson always bragged about him saving the people in Nimba. But then if you come across someone like Roland Duo too, Roland Duo can also brag about it, but his bragging is legitimate because he's been around forever. He did not leave and go to a foreign country. That's one advantage he has over Prince Johnson. So, and then you look at CDC, they brought in Garrison Yelu because the vote from Garrison Yelu, so important in Nima. Very, very important. Very important. If you bring in Garrison Yelu and you put one or two people, okay, because when Cole won, Garrison Yelu was around the second, third, I think the third place, and so second, third place, and when Cole won. So you're going to take away from UP. And UP, I don't know who's doing the analysis for them, right? They're not being careful. They're not watching the numbers. They're not watching the intricacies of all of these issues. They're not watching what's happening. It's not my place to advise UP. But UP is so focused on Cummings, and UP already won the second place to go to the second round. UP's only propaganda is to go to the second round, not to win the election.
Yeah.
So if you so anxious to prove a point to the CPP that you have edge by going to the second round, then you have no purpose of being in this election, because this election is so crucial to a point that it's like redemption, to redeem our people of the hardship from the 12 years and the 6 years and bring in something new that will relieve them of all of the bad things, all of the bad governance and bad practices we have had for the 12 and the plus 6 years. So I see them do. They're not focused on those things. And I keep saying, I don't know who's working for them to do the statistical evaluation and be able to come over and analysis to give them directly what they need to do. So if you look at what's happening in Nima is a sticky area. Not only Nima, right? If you look at, things have changed. To Lofa, to Bon County, Mount Gibby, and other places, there's a lot of different things have changed. And we're not looking at it. They're not looking at it. They're so focused on just we're in the second round, based on propaganda. But if you look at what's happening in Mount Gibby, Nukwe was with Joseph Boaka. Let's look at that. Nukwe was with Joseph Boaka. I know Nukwe. Nukwe went to school with me. Be the way are. Okay, I know Nukwe very well. Overwhelmingly, Mount Gibby supported because they felt that they had second in command on the ticket. They supported. That's not the same picture. If you look at Bon County, Joy Howard Tiller, she's from Bon County. And whether you like her or not, whether she's a bad person or not, she will command a certain number of people. Look at Yala today. Yala is a person who commands a lot of respect in Bon County, even if he's not a winner, but he commands a lot of. Look, you can win an election if you have 30%, 40% against your governance, right? Governing structure. You can never function. The same thing with America. Trump won. Trump was catching a hard time because a greater of the population, and so did not support Trump. That's the same thing I'm saying. You can win an election, but then when you find a good portion of the people don't support you, you will never ever be effective. So if you look at what's happening in those different places, look at Foya. Today we saw what happened in Foya. Foya, the CDC guy in Bowden in Foya, they were in the open about how they have won over the votes in Foya. All of these things that are happening I expect people with the mindset that when Ellie came to power, she spent a lot of resources to send the guys to school. Some of them still support UP. They have not sat down to critically look into this whole thing and be able to analyze it and see it for a strategic standpoint as to their focus and see what to put resources and put their attention.
They
Their
don't even have
attention,
the resources.
yeah, but their attention is on commies and commies and commies. You know
Yeah,
why I like that attention? Because now it shows that commies is actually the one who is an outsider in a sense of being different. Okay, I want you to be different. I want you to not play into the shenanigans and chicaneries of the past. And this is where I see that I respect, what has happened in the past. This is going to give a whole new picture, new dynamics to someone that comes. They're going to paint a different picture of the comings. And where we stand right now, I will tell you this, right? They think that this whole politics today in the different areas, they're making noise. But when it comes to being quiet, you will see that things are taking a different trend in our politics, especially you see in one county. If you have pastors, 1,000 pastors going to endorse a person, right? It speaks a lot because you look at 1,000 pastor to be 1,000 pastor. But in every church in Liberia, especially our people believe in the religious aspect in the church, and so 1,000 pastor can have more than 4,000 5,000 people in his congregation. And that's how you see we able to replicate, we able to multiply. We see a multiplying effect or playing in both county. People overlook it and say, oh, like 1,000 pastor. But not only 1,000, before the 1,000 pastor do, how many people did we see like Henry Yala brought over to the CPP?
yeah,
These things are very important. The CPP, I always say this, the CPP will not have to be, will not have to be dominant, but will have to win good numbers in almost every area. And then where I see other political parties will be filling. They can
yeah.
win in other areas.
And Emmerich, you struck the point. And let me say this. When we sit down and we have this conversation, because we're in the know, we've been working on this journey for a long time. There are some people who don't even know what it takes. Haven't done the work. Sit on Facebook, run the damn mouths. Both of us are registered voters. We've led processes. We've led, different things on the back end. So when we speak knowing that we have the data on our side to really see per the regression analysis that Emmerich's referencing here and making the case in terms of why these things, a lot of you who support not only the CPP should start paying attention to these. We're in Nima County, and you see from the interactive map from the back, you see Nima circle. We have a circle and pin because it's considered one of the largest counties in Liberia. And Nima now has become a pivotal part of the conversation going forward in about our politics. Everybody's got this expectation, especially from the Unity Party. What we're arguing here, based upon the regression analysis, that's factoring in, as Ember said, the Gio Mana divide. Also knowing that you have Tiawan Gonglo. He's the son of Nima County, and he's running as the head of his political ticket, right? Not the number two. In addition, he has his sister, Ada Longo, who's actually she's ran a neck-to-neck race in Nima County with Prince Johnson. That's another factor that's going to take away a lot of the votes. You have the likes of Garrison Yelu and the remnants of the MDR structure in Nima County. Now you see CDC is actually playing this political game wherein they're putting rolling duo against Prince Johnson. All of those factors, a lot of the movements that we see from all ends tells us that Nimba is going to be a really close race, and it's possible that the Unity Party might end up losing Nimba County. And what Emmerich's saying is that they keep focusing on the CPP and the rents with the CPP, but they've forgotten to prioritize strategies versus propaganda. That's why we continue to argue on the social media. And foolish people will go and write and say, oh, the rescue train, they don't want to leave Liberia. You're doing it because you've been bamboozled into believing empty propaganda. When we look at the data, when we look at the numbers, when we look at the output, we are saying a place like Nimba County is going to be a really tight race in favor of possibly the likes of a Gunglo and other maneuvers from the CDC that's going to reduce the number. Looking at that, why it is important, Emric, you mentioned bunk county, but before we go bunk county, I wanted us to take a step back because when you made mention of the Unity Party losing its focus, right, and how that could potentially impact the Unity Party, I think it was a great point, and I had to make sure that I go ahead and actually bring this in the conversation here for us. So let's go back here quickly and just pinpoint Lo-Fi County. Emmerich, what did you notice in Lo-Fi County, and just to set the premise, and why is also a county that we need to be able to take a look at and make another argument when it comes to the empty arrogance of Unity Party and the ignorance of some people who don't even understand what they're talking about, but buying into this fallacy. Why those pivotal counties, Nimba and Lo-Fi County, could be the reason why the Unity Party not only lose the election, but not make it to the second round.
But dude, simple. The CDC-led government being emboldened by what they've done in Lofa County to think that they can put it in the face of the UP and Joseph Boyka. If you look at what happened today, like as soon as it was announced that campaign is campaign time, what did you see in FOIA? And FOIA is not a place to showcase your strength. But once you start to showcase your strength in FOIA of all places, and I will tell you this, it's a message, it's resounding that you're sending to the UP camp that they have no control over or in Lofa. So I saw it. I watched the videos. I saw it. CDC. I don't support CDC. I don't even want CDC to win over there. Let me be clear about it, because CDC, whether we like it or not, bad governance. We're not going to say because of UP we going to hail CDC. No, I don't want CDC to win over any area. But we're seeing that UP did not have any counter, any approach. They did not show numbers. Because my point, right? If you have the numbers and you see people in your territory coming over to canvass, to campaign and show strength, you will come out to counter them. But UP, we see that that entire area is already fallen into the hands of CDC. So my point there, instead of focusing on the CPP, right? I think they need to re-strategize and recalibrate and go back to claiming places that they were strong. Because if you cannot, in JMB, and I'm saying this to the UP supporters, surrogates, partisan, if you cannot in this election to win at least 70% as you've done in the past election, if you cannot win at least 70, 68, 70%, then I don't see where you're going to make up for the numbers. Because Joseph Boakai, he did not have to campaign in, let's be realistic, he did not have to campaign in Lofa. He did not. He put nothing into Lofa. But what CDC did, because of the loss of presence in or dominance in Monserrato, CDC redirected because of the likes of Tomo Fala, Jefferson Koji, and so those guys from Lofa in the CDC-led government, they redirect their strategy to Lofa because they think there's some weaknesses in Lofa that they can exploit. That is to say, no activities in Lofa. So let's create activities in Lofa and see how much support. But we see that they were being strategic because they noticed that Joseph Boakai and his team they got nothing. They have nothing to show. They got no platform, no resources to be able to uplift the common people in Lofa. So CDC took advantage of that. And that's why you see Joseph Boakai is drowning in Lofa right now. And it's not only going to be down, but in few months, few weeks from now, you won't hear his name. People will not want to hear will hate him for that. And that's the truth.
Yeah, and Emmerich, this brings me to a pivotal point, right? That we've been communicating about and stuff. On the screen, on the interactive map, we have FOIA, and I highlighted FOIA for a reason because remember, FOIA has always been in the column of Joseph Boyka. Without winning FOIA, makes it a very difficult race for him in there. And we saw in the last senatorial election, you understand me?
Right.
And we saw how he was defeated by CDC in FOIA, right? And you said that today, the CDC launched their campaign in Lo-Fi County in FOIA because they see that FOIA is the heart of the resistance. They used this used to be the stronghold, and to really add some kind of meat to the conversation you made. What the Unity Party did is that it's the same thing that CDC did from Monserrato to Lo-Fi County. They figured that the former vice president had damaged or ruined a lot of his relationship in Lo-Fi County. That defeat in Lofa against the CDC made Unity Party to reconsider its strategy when it comes to election. And to a certain extent, they made some efforts reaching back to some of the contacts that they had in Lo-Fi County. As of last week, I'm aware I have a video in my possession wherein there were representatives of the boycott camp. We went to Lo-Fi County to meet with some of these chiefs to talk about the way forward and the support in Lo-Fi. And again, CDC had done a great job. So CDC launched the campaign in Lo-Fi County in FOIA today because it realizes that Monserrato is going to be a tough spot, especially with the dominance of Cummings in the last election, especially when he supported and financially sponsored, the Darius Dillon campaign, who's not going to be a factor in Monserrato County anymore because of the mistakes that he's made as senator. So CDC realized that Lo-Fi is an opportunity. They invest a lot of resources. And when we talk about regression, they have prioritized a lot of the other stuff and have forgotten. So Unity Party sense that there would be, if not, a really tough race in Lo-Fi County wherein they could potentially lose. And let me say this. If the former vice president does not win by 70% or 68% in the high 60s in Lo-Fi County, that means it's a done deal when it comes to the Unity Party campaign. I am pulling it. We're saying based upon the analysis we've done, based upon all of these things that we've seen, Lo-Fi County could potentially fall out of the column of the Unity Party, where it could potentially become a blue county, where CDC could sneak out with a win in Lo-Fi County. And if that happens, then that means the Unity Party hopes fall on Nema County. But in Nema County, you will have to win pretty close to about 70 and 80% in Nema County, which is not going to happen and that's why I say that you all need to listen to this. It is an important part, and it's going to come back during election night when you're paying attention. If you lose Lo-Fi County, that would mean that you will have to win by a vast majority, a huge number in Nema County. Based upon all the political maneuvers that we've seen from the Unity Party and other political parties in Nema County, Tiawangonglo, we see the Roland Duo factor now, the Garrison Yelu, and we see the Eva Gunglo and all of that. We believe that it is going to be another neck-to-neck race in Nema County. If that happens, wherein the Unity Party loses its 14s in Lo-Fi County, or Joseph Boyka does not win with more than 70% or high 60 in Lo-Fi County, and completely drop the ball to the CDC, and goes to Nema County and cannot pull at least 70% or 80% of the number, that means the Unity Party is not making it to the second round. Emery, is that a fair analysis?
Dude, that's fair enough. I see some people asking about the CPP. If you don't understand the CPP, you wouldn't understand what's going on. The CPP, and I keep saying, would not have to be dominating in any county. But the CPP presence in every county, taking significant amount of vote in every county, going to be great for the CPP because the CPP is more diverse. The only party that's so diverse, and the only party that tolerant and can add anybody from any tribe, any group, any educational background, no educational background, is the CPP. Okay, the CPP is attractive to everybody. So the point there, the CPP can go into Bond County and get good number of votes. The CPP can go into Mount Gibby and get good number of votes. The CPP going to get good number of votes in Monserrato because of the educational class and so in the CPP. So I see some people asking, what is CPP? They accept taking crumbs and so. No,
That's a great point, Emric. And let's
yeah.
go there. I switch.
So if you look at the CPP, if you look at the Basel Belt, right, the CPP going to dominate in those areas.
They're
Even
gonna
when
dominate.
Bromsky, yeah, even when Bromsky were alive, we have still took some votes over there. Bromsky was still dominant. It's going to happen again because their daughter, okay, their daughter is on the ballot box. Yumley is not on the ballot box. Yumley cannot argue that and go and say, let me campaign to be, let me canvass or let me campaign to be nothing on another party's political agenda, and so to take my votes and take it to being a non-factor. We're seeing people from a political party that thought about following her, they coming back home, right? This is going to be happening over and over. We're going to see it's going to be conventional. We're going to see the conventional retreat of all of the people that used to be in the Liberty Party that went with Yumley, but they see no reason because it did not make sense to be rescue mother who will be taking orders from other people when they can be the arrowheads and so we see these things happening, and let's not forget the people of Grand Bassa owe it to Bromsky, okay, the family, because they have always been honest, transparent, respectful of the people. They've always been there. Charles Walker Bromsky stood with the people. So the people of Bassa, they're not stupid. They're not going to take this for granted. The way Bromsky put them on pedestal and respected them. Because of them, Bromsky could have made a lot of political moves and so, but Bromsky did not do it because his loyalty was with the people. We have to understand that, and the people understand that too. They're going to stick with Bromsky. So let us go back. We talk about the trajectory of what's happening in Nima.
Yeah.
You know,
So you want to leave Bong. I wanted us to touch a little bit and then we'll go back because we'll
okay,
go back there and
yeah,
on there.
we can
So
do that, dude.
so logically speaking, yours is the CPP, you're the CPP. You have a clearer path in terms of in terms of how you can pull votes. And if you want to make the argument, that to me is the only political party that can actually pool a collection of voters across every major counties along the way. But you mentioned Bond County, and the reason why Bond County is actually critical because right now, if you look at the political landscape, a really large county, by the way, right? And you look at it, you will see that CDC's got Jua Hawatella, but the CPP's got Yala, who is a force to be reckoned with there. Those are the top two individuals in Bond County. Henry Yala, Jua Hawatilla. Powerful machinery or two combination. If you have Jua going to CDC, you have Yala to the CPP. In addition to that, and other components of that particular belt in there, and you have the Madingo factor in along the way in the Bond County area as well.
Dude, we have to be realistic, right? I did not expect Oyala to support. You know, I will tell you this, right? It's a plus to find Yala support the CPP. It's a plus for us. It's something that we have to welcome. It's something that we have to embrace because technically, from our analysis before this whole thing, we did not have a chance in Bond County. So imagine you did not have a chance in Bond County, right? And now you are competing in Bond County because of the presence of Henry Yala. And I always say, politics, never cross your finger on anything in politics. This is where I think is the biggest, greatest achievement of the CPP, to be counted in Bond County, to be competitive in Bond County.
In addition, they can really pool pretty close to 75-80% of the vote in the Bassa Belt.
But the Bassa Belt already, and I keep saying, there's no way the Bassa Belt will see Charlene,
yes,
the daughter of Charles Walker Bromsky on the ticket. And you know, when you're the vice president, right? The same way Nima is thinking that they close to the presidency is the same way Basso County too thinking. Don't mistake the whole thing. Okay, but the Basso Belt thinking that they close to the presidency too, because if you look at Mr. Cummings would not want to someone like Mr. Cummings, his attributes, okay, his personality. He's not somebody. If you look at Mr. Cummings, he could have been with Coca-Cola for ever so long, right?
Mhm.
But I think he believes in giving other people the chance, and because of that, someone like Charlene, Mr. Cummings will be glad to have Charlene over after he had gone through, mentorship with her and showing her the way. And so, Mr. Cummings, I like his personality. He will give a way to Charlene to be able to use her youthfulness to move Liberia forward. And that's the reason why I support someone like Mr. Cummings, because he's very secure, very humble in himself, and he feels that everybody has to have the opportunity.
Mhm.
Mr. Cummings, when I want to be in a position forever to say, oh, he has to stick there because he believes that other people like you, when you get into the society in America, you want to give the younger ones the chance to be able to excel. And I think with that believability, Mr. Cummings too, we want to see Charlene to move Liberia forward in the right direction.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think it's the best thing for us to have someone like Mr. Cummings with the modern mindset, and then have someone like Charlene with the modern mindset, to be able to collaborate and form a beautiful team that they can respect each other and work together.
Absolutely. And we said it. So we've ran two analysis for you, and we'll go back to Nimba County as you see on the screen. But I just wanted to make a point quickly here to Emmerich. So if we're fair enough and we just look at things as it is or as they are, Emmerich, the truth here is if you run the analysis between a Lo-Fi County and a Nimba County, you see there is going to be this fight, right? Especially potentially with Lo-Fi going over to CDC and Nimba County being heavily contested. And so those two counties that it doesn't show anything in terms of this kind of dominance from the Unity Party. But when we run the projection, we see that the CPP is able to pull about 75 to 80% of the votes along the Bassa Belt. If they do that, that's going to potentially push them to over 100,000 plus votes, which could mean a spell trouble for any other political party outside of that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but Duke, if you understand the Basel Bill runs into Mount Gibby and Monserrato too, though. So we can look at the Basel Bill as yet being River Sets and Grand Basel. You understand? If you look at the presence of the Basilians in Mount Gibby and in Monserrato, okay, huge number. That's why when you talk about, for instance, Maryland County, a small county, but the influence of the Marylanders in other parts of Liberia, they moved. They are travelers. They adapt to other places easily. Marylanders, I will tell you, the first group of people, they were teachers. They were professional people, right? They could easily move in because most of our teachers in Nimba, I will tell you, they're from Maryland. The Tumes, the Quays, and so they all from Maryland. But these are people that can adapt to any area. They have flexibility. They understand the intricacies of our issue. They understand. They make friends easily. So my point there, when you look at Maryland and say Cummings is from Maryland, right? And you think that you just narrow your mindset to Maryland as a county right now. No, they spread all over the country. They have they have the inter relationship with other people, and so they have children, and this is where I come from. I say, don't look at Maryland as the county that's so small. But if you look at Maryland, the teachers, our first set of teachers in Liberia came from Maryland. They moved all over the country. They could easily adapt anywhere and live anywhere. So the fact that when you talk about the Southeast, you may look at the Southeast small in number, but the greater in reality, the Grebo tribe, and so the greater reality. And you can't overlook that. Do not sit and say because you see Maryland a small county So that's because I know the history. I know I've been around for so long to know how these different tribes interact, how the different tribes were able to play into the dynamics of our politics and our well-being in the country. I know it.
Yeah,
So if you look at Mr. Cummings right now, you say, "Oh, Maryland is just Maryland, Maryland small," and so no, Maryland is a place that had moved people in different parts of the country, and overwhelmingly they have grown in numbers in different places, even though they may not be in Maryland itself, but in different parts of the country.
yeah.
So
So the grip of votes actually I mean, is important, and it's going to go. If there's anybody that's going to pull that, it will be him. Absolutely, and that's what we're saying. That some of you just need to take a step back. There's some idiots who would just go ahead and run around, run like cut their chicken and just chase propaganda. But the fact here is, if you really breathe in a little bit, why do you think Musa Belete goes on these platforms and tell you that he's convinced? Because there's something they're seeing that people who are obsessed with propaganda are not opening their minds to think about. And you know what? We've said this all along. When it comes down to the crunch time, when it comes down to the relationship, when it comes down to a dog fight, the only two political parties in this race with the resources would be the CPP and the CDC. And the CPP is being smart and strategic, while another political party is relying on propaganda and idiocy to be able to fund their campaign. As we've seen here, Lofa's going to fall. If Lofa fall, that means the only hope of the Unity Party is going to be in Nimba County. But if even you give it to them, they're not going to win more than 30%, if not 29% of the total
but,
numbers.
but Duke,
That's not good
Duke,
enough.
Duke, let me be clear. The issue of Nima County, the Mono tribe never the
So we're
Mono
going
tribe.
back. Remember, I was coming to you on that part. So
Okay.
we're back to Nima County. We'll come back to the regression analysis. Tonight, we're taking a larger portion of our time talking about Nima County because I want you all to remember this particular conversation. And when it comes to election night, to remember what we said on this particular show. Emmett, you ran the regression analysis. You have an understanding of Nima County. You've actually used actual numbers to speak about the divide when it comes to the Gira manner. Sorry, I couldn't project it on the screen here. We have a summary output of the statistics here, right? And you have a margin of error and observation. You have, but a lot of coefficients, a lot of variable that you factor in. Please use your time to, talk about that. And while, this could mean trouble for not only the Unity Party, but individuals who are obsessed with propaganda versus reality.
Yeah, Duke. If you look at district, I'm excuse my audience first of all. If you look at District 1, right? If you look
Absolutely.
at District
This is
1,
brilliant job.
predominantly the
Yes.
Mono tribe, right?
Yes.
And you look at the number of votes over there, 37, oh, this is 38,000, right?
38,000.
At District 2, okay, the Gil going to have the 2,300 or 2,200. The Manobel got 33,000. So if you look at all of these, I wish that you could have shared this for people to
Yeah,
see
and
what I did.
and that's what I was trying to
Yeah. So my
trying
point
to
there, even though the Geo tribe is predominantly, predominant in numbers, but then if you look at it, the Mono tribe is not far from the Geo tribe. The Mono tribe is like around 150 or 160,000. The Geo tribe around 117 or 118,000. Not much of a difference. Okay, not much of a difference. But what we see happening, you have Kennedy who is running as the presidential candidate on the Mono tribe, right? So that's going to impact the votes that Prince Johnson, because Prince Johnson is no more on the ballot box. And then the issue with Prince Johnson and the Gonglos, if it all the way data back, and then even with the yellow from the Geo tribe, data back, gonna hinder the progress of UP in that county because you now have Geo and Mano collaborating to go against Prince Johnson. So Prince Johnson against Coon. Coon is who is running. So Prince Coon may not have that influence in Nima County as he did a couple of years ago. It may not happen because he found Geo guys that actually seeing that President George Weah is the best person. They support him. So if you found Garrison Yelu giving him a vote and talking to the people they vote George Weah, it's something that's going to impact UP, whether we like it or not. Whether we like it or not, it's going to impact UP. But you see,
Emery, I think I have it. I have it on the screen now.
Yeah.
I have the PowerPoint here. So let's show you that. I mean, not the PowerPoint with Excel doc. So if you're following us, like I told you, this particular show and going forward, everything we're doing unapologetic is going to be based upon numbers, realities, actual data. So when people come with foolish argument, I don't even know how these things work, have not taken the time to see anything, we will go ahead and actually show you. So it's a summary of the regression analysis here. We look at the tribal demographic line per plot, and you instructed me to show District 1. This is District 1 here that I have on the screen.
Right. So I keep saying this whole thing. We for me, I deal with numbers. Okay, I deal with numbers from each district. I have very, very close analysis as to how things going to turn out based on 2017. When Cummings wasn't even known, okay, the way things turned out, and we look at all of the by-elections, and so the numbers you see tied into the way the mindset of our people in the different by-elections and so in the different counties. So it informed me as to how our people are going to vote. I didn't pick numbers to save my own numbers. I did not do it. But looking at the sticky issue of Prince Johnson, looking at Roland Duo, some of the players that Prince Johnson is faced with. I will tell you, if Prince Johnson is not careful, he may not be like that. And I will say it for a fact because Prince Johnson from the Geo Belt. But now the amount of people feel that Prince Johnson been sabotaging the whole of Nema, taking the whole of Nema to himself and owning onto it. So Nema will not want to vote Prince Johnson. I mean, the Mano Bell will not want to vote Prince Johnson. But then at the same time, if the Mano Bell not going to vote Prince Johnson, then you find some of the Geo Bells, the prominent people of the Geo Bell going to vote, or CDC are going to vote Garrison Yelu going to take a vote, or Roland Duo going to take the Geo vote to another person that they're going to support. Prince Johnson is not careful, he's going to go away. And I keep saying this election is different, it's strategic, right? People think that it's just talking. It's all numbers. And we're going to play with the numbers. We're going to change based on the different variation, different people. We're going to have polling in different areas, not the polling that Spoon Talk can have. They say UP, you're caught in the black, they're all around for people. We're not going to have that. We're going to have polling from different talk show hosts that are open to us having their data, and we're going to pull their data and be able to give you a fair analysis of it. This is this is fair, this is open. I didn't just take numbers from all the different places. Actual numbers, these are actual numbers. So
Emric, let me stop you here quickly, because I think just for the listening audience and to give people some kind of understanding here. Like I said, this is unapologetic. We're doing things different. We're bringing things with facts. We're bringing actual data, and we're actually debunking a lot of the fallacies you're hearing here and letting you know that, look, contrary to what people are hopping around here from the reality show, there is a tough political race. And for the first time, I haven't seen the level of complexity I've seen in elections in Liberia as compared to what we're seeing now. But remember, when I go on the tab here on the summary, we look at Nimba County tribal demographics. I'm assuming that we have from District 1 to District 9. Is that correct?
Oh, yeah. Okay. At the time, 2017, yeah, well, District 1 to District 9.
Right. So we have in blue coded Geo, red mono, and then we have mixed. So when we go into District 1, at that time, we see, that mixed and then color coded. But if you look at District 4, we have a dominance of Geo. Same thing with District 5, District 6, and then 7, you have both Geo and mono, but you have more mono there, and then District 8, more mono people. And then in District 9, you have almost neck to neck, both Gio and Mano. I'm assuming that Gonglo and Edith come from the Manon tribe, correct?
Yes,
So
yes,
if we did that, I'm looking at the numbers again. The reason why we're telling people to pump the brakes and to pay attention to these things. If they're coming from the Mono tribe, that means if we're assuming just using this demographic, that means we could have a situation wherein Gonglo could win in District 2. He could pull really competitive in District 3. He could pull away in District 8 and possibly in District 7 as well.
yeah, do. If you look at that chart, right?
Mhm.
And I'm going to be very clear. Oh, am I saying there are not amount of people that will vote for Jeremiah Cole? That's not what I'm saying. There are going to be some amount of people going to vote, but overwhelmingly, the amount of people going to be looking at their son Tiawan Gonglo, who's has always had influence in those different areas, and so the amount of people they hurt by the presence of Prince Johnson, who's taken away from them, and this is how they're going to punish Prince Johnson. We're going to vote down our son is in the race. We're going to vote for him no matter what. But before they had no option. Some of them will say, no, let's vote for Prince Johnson. But this time around, the amount of people will say we will vote for our own. Since the Gio people want to support their own, we will support our own. But then what the difference there is, if you look at Garrison Yelu and other people, prominent people from the Gio belt, they will convince their followers to say, Judge, we have been having projects. He's going to bring this, he's going to do that. A propaganda. Okay, even though it's not going to happen, but you're going to find a lot of Gio people that Garrison Yelu and other people got influence or whatever because Judge Weah gave them position in the last minute. Okay, they're going to support Judge Weah. They're going to support the candidates of CDC. And who is it? Roland Duo. But if you look at Roland Duo mom is from the Manon tribe. His father is from the Gio tribe. That's the sticky issue with Prince Johnson. And I think CDC will be strategic in doing that. Because Roland Duo, he parted from the Manon tribe, parted from the Gio tribe. So Roland Duo will be exploiting when it comes to the senatorial position. He will be exploiting overwhelmingly for the Gio tribe. From the Manon tribe. Then he will take some votes from the Gio tribe based on his connection with the Gio people because he part from the Gio tribe. Then Garrison Yelu and other people that will support him will give their votes to him. Okay? So Prince Johnson, if Prince Johnson is not careful, he's going to be dethroned in Nimba County. And I'm saying it.
Yeah.
I will say it now. After the election, people come out and say, Emery, you were right. Because I know the history. I know the people. I know how to behave. I live for them. My mom is from over there. I'm not saying it because it's just something I want to say. It's just the truth. That Prince Johnson, if he's not careful, the reason why they pick Roland Duo because Prince Johnson always had the talk that he defended Nima. But if he put Roland Duo against Prince Johnson, who defended Nima more? It's Roland Duo because Roland Duo has a history of staying over there for the 14, 15, 16 years of Civil War. Prince Johnson did not. He went to Nigeria. In fact, Prince Johnson never lived in Nima when the war came. He fled through and passed through Nima and went to Monrovia across the bridge over there. But Roland Duo stayed and remained with the people and fought along with the people. So Roland Duo has more history in Nima. I think that's the reason why CDC picked Roland Duo to go against Prince Johnson because he will have a better history to protecting Nima than Prince Johnson.
And Emmerich, that's a salient point, and I think is a brilliant job on this analysis here. I'm telling you, it is something to really think through. And we're making this argument because, so with everything that he said it, and if you look at all of the arguments being made, it is safe to say that this illusion that the Prince Johnson factor and all of that, it's all an illusion, and we're gonna run into a situation where these guys might lose will lose in Nimba County as well. Emmerich, is it safe to say that?
No, it's safe to say that someone like Prince Johnson, if he's not careful, if he wants to put himself into the presidential race and campaign heavily for Joseph Boakai and forget himself, he will lose. He will lose. And I'm saying I'm being emphatic about it. I'm being sure, 100% sure that he will lose. So I think Prince Johnson knows that He's being threatened because Roland Duo gonna come in with resources. Roland Duo has resources equal to Jeremiah Cole. Roland Duo has resources equal to Prince Johnson, or even more than Prince Johnson. Roland Duo will be supported by CDC with his resources and the resources of CDC. Roland Duo gonna come in. People like Garrison Yelu. Garrison Yelu came, I think, second or third. And Garrison Yelu gonna put his support the Belliger area where we are right now trying to get a couple of votes from there. Garrison Yelu are gonna come strong and support Roland Duo because Roland Duo is their man. So my point is simple. Prince Johnson had dominance in the Geo belt because the Geo people and the Banner people, Geo people are always voted that way. But this time around, you find another Geo man who can challenge Prince Johnson to take away from Prince Johnson. At the same time, that Geo man has a Mano mother who's a Mano woman, and he's heavily rooted in the Mano belt. Roland Duo. You did CDC pick Roland Duo because they wanted to get pick him by mistake? No, it was strategic because they see that he has both of them, the Geo belt and the Mano belt. And then he can take from the Mano belt, and at the same time, because he appeals to the Mano people. And the Mano people they have never ever had the opportunity since Prince Johnson to see somebody who's going to represent them. So they're going to go against Prince Johnson. The thing about Edith Gonglo, and I will tell you today, Edith Gonglo did not have both. She only had one, the Mano belt. And Edith Gonglo had always fallen short because she did not make inroads in the Geo belt. Okay, if I was advising Edith Gonglo, I would have told her when she was superintendent to have made inroads in the Geo belt. That was the only problem with Edith Gonglo. Edith Gonglo will win all the way the Mano belt easily, but she would never ever just be dominant in the Geo belt, and she fallen short because of that.
Yeah. So the argument now shifts to this. We've seen where we're predicting a really tough time for the Unity Party in Lufkin County. That Lufkin County might fall to CDC. We're painting another scenario wherein, when it comes to NEMA politics, it's a crowded political field, and we're reaching the situation wherein tribal politics is going to get in the middle of it, and there's a point wherein Prince Johnson may lose his seat, and we have a situation wherein the Unity Party was gambling on NEMA County becoming the replacement might end up losing that as well. So what do you make of the Southeast and why it is really crucial? Because here it is, that's what we're making an argument that the CPP's really got a clear path, because all they have to do, win big in the Bassa Belt, they pull 85% of the vote, even 70-something% of the vote in the Bassa Belt, and Cummings is able to actually pull, votes and pockets of votes in different areas before we come to even Monserrato. He's actually into the second round.
Yeah, but Duke, if you look at Monserrato, right? Traditionally, Monserrato is, I would say, our educational, center. Most of the educational class too from Monserrato. Cummings always attracted the educated people. Cummings does not have to go and campaign heavily with the educated people, all right? They are well informed. They know good things. They know bad things. And so my point there is simple. In Monserrato, even when Cummings did not even, he wasn't known in Liberia. Okay, we saw how Cummings did well in Monserrato. Cummings did not even campaign. He wasn't known. Nobody knew him. All right. Cummings came, I think, if I'm not mistaken, third place in Monserrato. Yeah. Okay. So looking at what's happening, I think Cummings beat even Bromsky, who's been in politics.
Colorado, which is a shocker. Yeah, he did a good job in there. That was less than barely less than full.
So this is my point, dude. If Cummings was able to show up in Monserrato, because of the most of the people in Monserrato don't see other communities where you don't have educated people. Most of the people in Monserrato, the affluent areas, and so they are educated people. So he did extremely well in Monserrato 2017 that people did not expect. So if he's going to even continue on the same, but Cummings don't make mistakes, right? He had progressed in those areas. He had made a lot of gains. He's been reaching out, he's been accessible to the communities and different areas in Monserrato area. Then when you look at what's happening with him combining with, especially Bromsky, who's always shown better results in Monserrato. So if you look at the both of them coming together, I would say he's not going to win anything less than 250,000, 300,000, 300,000 votes, 300,000 votes in Monserrato. And if you're going to win 300,000 votes in Monserrato, that's good. That's good
That's
showing.
huge. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
huge.
that's huge. That's good showing.
And what you're seeing on the screen here, this was last year when the CPP-NC began an aggressive mobilization and recruitment within the Monserrate area. They have been doing the work, contrary to all the propaganda. They've been hitting the stumps. They've been going out there. They've been sending people out there. And I'm telling you, during this particular campaign time, one thing you're going to see a lot, Emmerich, is that you're going to see the force, right? And this is Bone County again. The result, you see the Henry Yala thing, but this was all work done by the CPP, the ANC, that people were not catching on to, but they were doing the job. And these things going to pay a huge dividend, right, for them. If you come back to a Phoebe Hospital, they've had a project at the major hospital in Bone County there, right, that people's been benefiting from. So if you said that, Emmerich, if they pull that amount of votes in Monserrate County, they sweep the entire Bassa Belt, get that kind of momentum with the Gribble Belt, and you're talking about being a player in Bone County, we could see a matchup of the CPP on comics in the second round. And a lot of people will regret, because in the end, they have relied on propaganda when this institution, the CPP, has been doing the work and laying the foundation, building the kind of relationships that were needed to have the kind of political success across different points.
Yeah, dude. For me, I don't like to be overly optimistic, but sometimes you want to keep room to be able to work hard. And I think because of the believability of someone like Alexander B. Cummings, he keeps room to improve, because once you tell yourself, you tell yourself that you have reached, you have in the Liberian way, you have arrived, right? Then
Yeah.
you think you don't have to work anymore. But one thing, he's never satisfied with his position. He still feels that he's the underdog, and that's a great thing, right? Because what's going to happen is going to make you to work even harder. If you look at someone like Mr. Cummings, he's exponentially he's worked harder than any candidate in the race. When you think Mr. Cummings is getting better and he needs to relax for a little bit, Mr. Cummings is out there even doing more than we expect, right?
Yep.
That's a beauty. That's a beauty to find someone who has the drive, who has the ingenuity, to find someone who can persevere, find someone who's steadfast. That's a beauty by itself, because not many people can be motivated. If Mr. Cummings was someone who could have that negative vibe to himself, trust me, by now he'll be tired because of our politics. But one thing I see is those areas you are talking about, to connect them. You see Mr. Cummings, right? He listens, he observes, he's willing to change. He's willing to listen to people and take advice, pieces of advice. And that's the reason why you see Mr. Cummings is in every community, everywhere, to make sure, because Mr. Cummings feels that this whole thing is not about him. If it's about Mr. Cummings will lead a race. He will leave it, but I think it's more of building a legacy and putting Liberia on the right path. It's more honorable than anything in life. If I, Emery, can refuse anything but to put Liberia on the right path, that's the best thing that anyone wants to do. That's history that can never be erased. That's history that can never, ever, nobody can surpass to put your country on the right path. That's why you see the likes of Jerry Rawlings, no matter what happened in Ghana. You see Thomas Sankara, no matter what happened in Burkina Faso. And so that's the reason why you see they're part of history. Some people just want to live and have them put in history. I think Mr. Cummings wants to be put in history, in our history book, that he was able to drive the new Liberia and bring prosperity to the country, that everyone can see some level of opportunities to be able to thrive. And I think what Mr. Cummings do, we can never go wrong. And I keep saying we can never go wrong. Even if you don't like him, right? But voting for him, you can never go wrong on someone who is steadfast, someone who is not about his tribal support, but the overall support of the country. Someone who gonna say you work hard, just how you work, you're gonna benefit. You know why in America, Cabo, if you put extra 2 hours or overtime in, you will get the pay, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's the same system. That's the mindset of Mr. Cummings. That's how brilliant he is. Mr. Cummings feels that if you're going to spend extra 4 hours on a job than what you normally supposed to work, you should get paid. And this is what we all want for Liberia. Okay, so thanks,
Yeah.
for the question. And
Emery, yeah, we'll wrap up pretty soon, but let's touch one point because guys listening, yes, a quick summary for you. We've decided our unapologetic. We're gonna take the fight to these people. We're gonna be able to inform you about not only the CPP but what the prospects are, what we're seeing in the different areas. And you know what? There'll be a time where when we go live during the day, we will have people in these communities that will bring you up to date information, that will be able to talk to people in the slums, in the different areas, right? When we have the opportunity to get on ground, we'll be able to bring you live images and stuff. Emmerich did touch upon, we came to Monserrato, and we'll flirt with this a little bit to our next podcast for us to really, really start hitting those specific districts as well. Emmerich, I highlighted Nuclear the borough for a reason, because when we talk about Monserrato and people think that Dylan's going to be a factor, we laugh, because you and I know well that those slum communities, especially in Nuclear, the kind of resistance that we were able to put forth in Nuclear, especially when it comes to those disenchanted Seditians who were rebellious against the WIA administration. And we're going to see that in the election, there's still Seditians. There's a reason why CDC decided to move to Lofa County, because it understands the too many resistance or too much of a resistance in there. But specifically in Nuclear, when you look at the CPP, when you look at the CDC and other political parties, what do you think has got a fair chance of really tapping into the core of resistant voters in the boroughs, in the slum communities? And why do you think that those individuals will be able to move closer towards the CPP?
Look, first of all, we have to be realistic as to the ascendancy of Darius DeLong into the Senate. We have to be clear. You and myself, we did not support it because I think we have a lot of commonalities where we see true people. Okay, we did not support it, even though we wanted change. We wanted a change from a CDC, but we still did not support DeLong because we felt that he wasn't a genuine change, and we've seen it, lying and putting his mother through a whole lot of swear and curse and so. But let's move forward. If DeLong feels that he won based on his prowess or ingenuity, then let's go back to prior elections where DeLong participated.
Yeah.
Okay, so I will say this, and to DeLong, if you're listening, stop having a big head. You did not win on your own accord, on your own ingenuity. You did not win. You won on the back of the CPP. And that's clear. It's factual. 100% clear. Because in the CPP, excuse my French, he was licking everyone's ass to give that support. Everyone supported him. So for him to come up and think that he can campaign in Monserrato, in fact, because of all of us, a lot of seditious felt they wanted to send a message. They voted for the CPP candidate. If you look at even in Grand Bassa with Yumley would have lost had it not been for the CPP. But we see all of them today, they think they control a whole belt, a whole region, a whole county, because they think that they've been voted before, but they have forgotten that had it not been for the CPP, Yumley would have lost. We know the margin, right? We know the margin. We know how heavily or how Cummings campaign over there heavily. We saw it. We saw how the CPP poured into Grand Bassa and campaigned heavily on behalf of Yumley. But today, because of politics, they don't appreciate anything. But it's not far from now. okay, October 10, 2023, we'll want to see their juice in those places to see how they are able to have a repeat that they claim they have influence there. We want to see that happen. We really want to see that happen. So, do I
Yes,
know
sir.
we've come up to our time, and I will say thank you. We need to do this more often,
Yes.
and then what's
Yep.
going to happen? We will be airing most of our shows on shows in I mean on the radio station, a Good
Yep.
Shepherd in Nima County and Count radio station. We're going to be airing over there.
Yes, listening. We need all of your support to share this live, to be part of it. But we're trying to air these things on the radio station. So if you have any support, any of the way, reach out to us as well. It helps us to be effective. I really appreciate that. We're going to end with a live look in of the National Elections Commission, wherein about 60 something, 65 plus days from now, that place is going to be the center of attraction, wherein all the major political parties, Liberians all over the world, including Liberia, will be paying attention to the results at the National Election Commission. We're going to be able to give you a live looking using a lot of optics, digital imaging to make sure that we're actually taking you along this journey, right? Using 3D graphics, street views, a lot of this live looking, including live videos from individuals who are out there bringing information back to us to inform you about that. The next time we get here, we'll go a little more in, but I will hopefully, possibly try to get somebody from Lo-Fi County that will be able to give her a street, live looking street from Foya and talk to a part of people. We'll probably do a town hall in Lo-Fi Emmerich, wherein during the day, wherein the people will be able to talk to people there about the concerns so Liberians can get an idea of what's unfolding across the country as we move into election. Listening, we have brought you a lot of substance here. When we get off live, watch this video, share it, let other people listening to it and learn from it as well. I think it is important that during election time, we're making ourselves informed. And look, CPPNs, all of you will support us at Charlotte Burns Campus Comics. We got a lot of work to do. We continue, we'll have to do that. Call your family members, call your friends, reach out to your church members in Liberia. One call a day, two calls a day, talk to somebody, reach out to people, and let's continue to bring this thing home. But Emma, it has been, an amazing time here tonight. Discussing this issue, talking about, all of the facts and all of the things on the show tonight. We're able to do a lot in terms of the substance as well. As we progress, we will be able to bring people on here who are in tune with the campaign and understand what we're going to CPP. So I do appreciate all of you. It has been a great time. Send us a live feedback if you like this new approach and what we've done here tonight. Please feel free to reach out to us because we want to make sure that we're doing things that you are actually not only enjoying, but actually learning from as well. As I said, we have 60 something plus days to go. The National Election Commission says that right now in our country, we have 65 days to go from that. We have 46 political parties, 2.4 million registered voters, voting precincts of 2,080 polling places and what have you here. So maybe the next time, Emma, will go through the list of the different, registered, different area about votes. But on that note, this is how we want to bring this session of Unapologetic to an end. Emric, you can go ahead and close out with a little bit of music as we wind this down.
Thank you, Joe.
So if I owe you, don't care, babe. Even your colors and know your own back. What did the Brazilian say? No, ma. So if I owe you, don't care, babe. Even your colors and know your own back. Something must get done.
Thank you. All right, I'll go ahead and play the team song. Listen, thank you for the time. I appreciate all of you and all of you. Right? We're gonna go ahead and bring the show to an end.